Okay. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي وبعد فاللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما وارزقنا فهما والحمد لله على كل حال ونعوذ بالله من حال أهل الضلال برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين ربنا يسر ولا تعسر ربنا تمم بالخير وأنت الكريم الميسر اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما وارزقنا فهما والحمد لله على كل حال ونعوذ بالله من حال أهل الضلال برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. First and foremost, we thank and we praise Allah Ta'ala, our nourisher, sustainer, the provider, the omnipotent. Thereafter, we send the choices of salutations and salam on the best of creation, our role model, our beloved messenger, chain of transmission, sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam. May the same salutations, blessings be upon his pure household, his family, and may the same salutations be upon his companion, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shower us as well with the same salutations. Inshallah ta'ala, ameen ya rabbal alameen. Tonight we start with one of our first sittings of the qira'ah fi kitab al-Hajj. We will do a comparative reading regarding the chapter of Hajj. And as we experience the different challenges and tribulations as a community and as a society, it is imperative that we always keep in mind the bigger picture. So even though we might be explaining the chapter of Hajj, we try to keep in mind the spirit of why we perform and worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we know that Hajj is one of the chapters of ibadat, one of the chapters that is regarded as the chapters of worship and devotion to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so in this particular reading, it will be a very different type of reading, in the sense that I'm reading from a number of different books. Some might become bored of the fact that I might be repeating certain things several times, but because of the academic approach that we will be taking in this particular reading, is to give our viewers and listeners a different perspective of how we study fiqh and jurisprudence, specifically here referring to Islamic law and Islamic law, jurisprudence, fiqh. This is one of the things that basically constitutes the way we live as Muslims. And when one knows the fiqh, they are able to fulfill the ultimate goal, which is please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So for those that are listening, as we will make this class available via audio, so to our listeners on WhatsApp, or our listeners on Facebook or Instagram and viewers, the books that we will be using in this comparative reading is a number of works. The main book will be Minhaj al-Talibin wa Umdatul Muftin, and that is the matan, the text that was written by Sheikh Islam Zakaria Sharafuddin Yahya al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, very famous scholar, Imam Nawawi, and this is one of the primer works and fiqh books in the Shafi madhab. And there are a number of commentaries that has been written regarding this text. So this is the text, Minhaj al-Talibin وعمدة المفتين. This is obviously طبعة, the print, the Darul Minhaj print. There are a number of commentaries. One of the commentaries that I specifically like is the commentary that was written by Sheikh Dr. Mustafa Deeb Al-Bugha. The reason that I like his commentary is that he concentrates on the evidences of what the jurists have said. So his commentary is primarily there to illustrate the evidences of the Shafi madhab, and this commentary is called Ifadatul Raghibin Bisharhi wa Adillati Minhaj Talibin, obviously written by Sheikh Mustafa Deeb Al-Bugha. And you can find the chapter that we are discussing, which is the chapter of Hajj. This is on page 711. So on page 711, Ifadatul Raghibin Bisharhi wa Adillati Minhaj Talibin. Okay, this is the commentary that, as I've mentioned, that was written by Sheikh Mustafa Deeb Al-Bugha. So the focus is also to accommodate for our brothers and students of knowledge. Hence, I'm taking a different approach in terms of how we shall explain the of Kitab al-Hajj. So that is the first two books that I will use, inshallah ta'ala. That's the first two books that I will use and depend on in explaining our classes in the future, inshallah. So just to explain to everyone the idea of the classes and how we will structure these classes in the future. So on every Monday, we will have the fiqh class. And this fiqh class, as I said, is a number of different readings in fiqh. So the first one is based on Imam Nawawi's book, Minhaj al-Talibin wa Umdatul Muftin. And the first commentary, Ifadatul Raghibin Bisharh wa Adillati Minhaj al-Talibin. That is the first two primary commentaries that I will use. And these are very sophisticated and complicated commentaries on a very high level of scholarship. It was written, in fact, these commentary texts are studied at the university level. If you go to any leading university in the world today, like the Al-Azhari University, like the Qarawin University, like the Timbuktu University, you will see that when they teach the school of law of Imam Shafi'i, the primary text that they will use is this book called The Methodology of the Seekers, and the reference of the muftis. And in any fatwa body today, they use this book as a primary source in order to give fatwa from. Okay, and then the second commentary that I will be also reading from is Hashiyatul Bayjuri على شرح فتح القريب المجيب لمتن الغاية والتقريب, and this is written by Sheikh Islam Ibrahim. He is also an Azhari scholar, and this is a super commentary on the actual commentary called Fath al-Qarib that was written by Ibn Qasim al-Ghazi. And Ibn Qasim al-Ghazi is explaining a text which is called Al-Ghaya wa Taqrib. Was written by one of the judges of his time, known as Abu Suja. So I'll also be using that commentary. So for the viewers and the listeners, especially those who are listening via WhatsApp or Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, if they would like to follow this reading, then they could follow from these books. So the first book, Minhaj al-Talibin, that's the actual text. And then one of the first commentaries I will be using is by Sheikh Mustafa Deeb Al-Bugha, called Ifadatul Raghibin بشرح وأدلة منهاج الطالبين. The second or the third commentary that I'll be using is Hashiyatul Bayjuri. The last and the fourth commentary that I'll be using is Tuhfatul Muhtaj بشرح المنهاج, and it's a very big commentary. However, what we can do is, in order to understand the text, this is one of the reasons that I'm using so many commentaries. And in I also decided that I will be using Rawdatul Talibin, and I think this is a very nice book, also written by Imam Nawawi, Rawdatul Talibin wa Umdatul Muftin. So those are the commentaries that I'll be using. And for our English readers, they can use this book, Manasik al-Hajj. This is a very simple book for all our English readers. If they're not able to follow from the Arabic text, they can use this as a primer. This is a fiqh text that is based on a number of works. It was translated by Maulana Muhammad Qah and Maulana Yaqub Abdullah, and the book's called Manasik al-Hajj. You can find this book by Timbuktu. It was written by Sheikh Maulana Muhammad Ayub al-Nadwi al-Shafi'i, and the primary focus of the book, the reason I like this book, is that we know that the best work that has been, one of the best works that was written, one of the best works that was written in Hajj is the book called Manasik al-Hajj that was written by Imam Nawawi rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh. So what Maulana Yaqub Muhammad al-Nadwi did, and Maulana Muhammad Qah, they translated this book, because the original book is actually in Urdu, right? But the primary sources actually comes from the Hashia, which is a super commentary of the Idah that was written by Ibn Hajar al-Haytami, which is regarded as one of the murajjihin of the madhab of the Shaykh al-Islam Zakaria Yahya al-Nawawi, and of the Shaykh Abul Qasim al-Rafi'i. Then we have Ibn Hajar al-Haytami and Muhammad al-Ramli. So they based this book on Ibn Hajar's super commentary called Hashiyatul Idah. Okay, and Maulana Muhammad Ayub al-Nadwi Shafi'i basically compiled this Hajj manual, drawing primarily from the super commentary of Ibn Hajar al-Haytami. But these are the reasons that I prefer this text, because it's in English, and because, number one, it's regarded as a abridgment. Okay, it's regarded as a abridgment. So it is actually a summary of the super commentary of Ibn Hajar al-Haytami, but in the English language. And that is very rare. You do not find people translating super commentaries. Like, you don't find people translating Hawashi. Hawashi are very intricate, because it's a commentary of a commentary. Okay, so keep in mind that you find the original text that's written by Nawawi, for example, and then you find a commentary, meaning a person explaining what Imam Nawawi is saying. A super commentary, a hashia that I'm speaking about, is a third person explaining what the first person was saying. So you find this a lot in the Arabic tradition. However, these works are not vastly translated in the English language. So this is one of the primary reasons that I like this book called Manasik al-Hajj. You can get it at Timbuktu, translated by Maulana Muhammad Qah and Maulana Muhammad Yaqub Abdullah. Very good translation, and very accessible in the English language. So that's one of the first reasons I like this book. The second reason that I also like the book is that the fiqh of Hajj, right, pertains primarily the laws and the rules. So what can I do? What can't I do? Basically, that's fiqh. It's regarding, as many of the shurah say, ma'rifatul ahkam al-shar'iyyah. It is to have knowledge of the legislative laws المكتسب من أدلتها التفصيلية, which is derived and deduced from the detailed proofs. And this means that any fiqh chapter, whether you're studying the chapter of Tahara, whether you're studying the chapter of Salah, the chapter of Zakah, the chapter of Buyu' Mu'amalat, the chapter of Hajj, I'tikaf, the primary focus of it is that the faqih and the jurist is there to attain the knowledge of the legal ruling pertaining to that particular aspect of his life. And these rulings are derived, right? So the blueprint for the faqih and the jurist is primarily based on detailed proofs. The detailed proofs that I've mentioned now in the definition of fiqh is derived from the Quran, the Sunnah, the Ijma' and the Qiyas. So this means the Quran is the first primary source of evidence in order to substantiate the legal verdict. The second legal source is the prophetic Sunnah, and obviously there's a specific methodological approach used by the Shafi jurists in terms of how they will use the Sunnah as a legal evidence in order to substantiate legal verdicts. The third legal evidence is known as Al-Ijma', the scholarly consensus, right? And Ijma', here we're speaking about the Ijma' as-Sukuti, even though that there is difference of opinion, but I'm not going to go into that. The primary focus is that we understand that these are the four agreed upon evidences. So Ijma', which means Ijma'ul Ummah ala amrin min al-umur, as Imam Al-Azhari has defined the definition of Ijma' in Al-Mustasfa, which means the unanimous agreement of the nation or the Ummah upon a particular matter. And here the unanimous agreement of the nation is referring to the consensus of the mujtahidun within the fraternity of fiqh. As Imam Al-Juwayni explicitly mentions that when we're speaking about the mujtahid, we're speaking about the mujtahid in fiqh. Okay, so it is the consensus of people that have the intellectual capacity in order to understand and derive and deduce legal rulings from the Quran and the Sunnah. So that's the third primary legal evidence. And the last one is Ijma'. And the reason that I spent a bit of time on that is that one of the commentaries that we will be using is called Ifadatul Raghibin Bisharh Adillat Minhaj Talibin. And this was written by Sheikh Mustafa Dib al-Bugha. And his primary focus is in order to clarify what is the dalil. And I think that, you know, we are living in the age of fiqh shi'ar al-dalil, where our people are, you know, bombarded with, you know, what is the dalil? What is the dalil of your madhab? This is always the focus there, as if, you know, we find this pseudo type of thinking within the intellectual fraternity, trying to undermine the people that follow the madhab. So I'm going to get started by the reading. I don't want to spend too much time on the introductions. So as I've mentioned, we will be doing this reading every Monday after Maghrib, where we read Minhajul Talibin and the different commentaries. And for our English readers, they can use this book, Manasik al-Hajj, inshallah ta'ala. And on Wednesday, inshallah, we will do a different reading, and that reading will be based on the fiqh as-seerah. So I'm going to be teaching seerah as well, but from a fiqh perspective, and this is written by Sheikh Saeed Ramadan al-Bouti. You can also find the book translated as well. It is called The Jurisprudence of the Prophetic Biography. The Jurisprudence of the Prophetic Biography. So how do we understand the legal verdicts, or how do we extract legal verdicts from the life and the prophetic biography of the Messenger ﷺ, and say that it is applicable to the 21st century? Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. That I will be doing on a Wednesday. And then obviously our Friday Nasiha will be based on Ihya Ulumuddin, which is the book that was written by Imam Al-Ghazali, called The Revival of the Sciences. I'll be specifically focusing on the chapter called Rubu' al-Muhlikat, which is the section that focuses primarily on the things that destruct the human soul, or the things that destroy the human being. So here his focus will be primarily based on, you know, things like hasad, jealousy, envy, the difference between jealousy and envy. Even though, you know, we in Arabic there's two different words for it. So the Arabs differentiate between what is hasad and the hasad al-mazmoom, basically, and envy. So there is a jealousy that is permissible in Islam, but the jealousy that Ghazali speaks about is the jealousy that is blameworthy. So those things that are blameworthy, like even our eating habits, he goes into that, but he really breaks it down. So this is the reason that I think I will go into that, because it speaks about identifying the real enemy. Like, you know, the times and the challenges we're living in today, we think that the government is against us. We think that all of these role players that are basically deciding the way we live our life as a society today are the actual enemies. But the actual enemies clarified by Ghazali is actually shaitan. So he indicates how these people are only role players in that perspective. So let us start. كتاب الحج. قال الإمام النووي رحمه الله تعالى ونفعنا بعلومه في الدارين آمين. هو فرض وكذا العمرة في الأزهر. Okay, so he says كتاب الحج. I will not go deep into the linguistic meanings of the word kitab for now, but the word hajj, for our readers that want to follow, they can go to page 23 in Manasik al-Hajj. Okay, so on page 23 you can go to the obligatory nature of Hajj and Umrah. So the first sentence Imam Nawawi mentions here is discussing the obligatory nature of Hajj and Umrah. So he says, Kitabul Hajj wa fardun. So he's saying that the pilgrimage, okay, for now I'm going to translate the word Hajj as pilgrimage. He says that it is obligatory, وَكَذَا الْعُمْرَةِ, likewise the Umrah, fil Azhar. Okay. Now to read from Ifadatul Raghibin by Sheikh Mustafa Deeb al-Bugha. He says, Al-Hajju fil lughati huwa al-qasd. So linguistically, the word Hajj, right, we translated it as pilgrimage. He says linguistically, meaning according to the scholars of the Arabic language, the word Hajj actually means intention. Okay, and you will see throughout our this dispensation, you will notice that there's a major focus on definition. Okay, so when we speak about Hajj, what are we speaking about? We're speaking about something very specific, right? So when someone says Hajj or Hajja Yahujju, right, in the Arabic language, then it can just mean intending, Okay, like I have an intention. يحج الدكان. I intended يحج أن أذهب إلى الدكان. I intended to go to the shop, for example. Not necessarily performing the pilgrimage as we understand it. Shar'an, so the Shar'i meaning the meaning according to the ulama of Sharia, they say the word Hajj means قصد بيت الله الحرام لأداء أعمال مخصوصة في أوقات مخصوصة وبنية مخصوصة. Okay, so you see it's something very specific, and you can write down this definition. Sheikh Mustafa says that it is intending the sacred house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to perform specific actions in specific times with a specific intention. So that is the legal understanding of the word Hajj. So whenever we use the word Hajj, that is actually the meaning that the ulama are intending by the word Hajj, right? So they intend when the person intends the sacred house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to perform specific rituals, if you like, in a specific time duration, okay, with a specific intention. That is very important, because then you get to notice from the get-go, right? Hajj cannot be, let's say someone goes to Makkah, right? He goes to Makkah, or he goes to Makkah without the intention of doing these specific things. Then this will not be regarded as Hajj, even though he goes in the time of Hajj. So it doesn't mean that the person gets on the plane and goes to Makkah and does the entire ritual thing of the pilgrimage means that you perform Hajj. No, if the intention is absent from this definition, we see that the pilgrimage would actually be invalid, or it wouldn't even be regarded as a pilgrimage, but they will say this is hypothetically a pilgrimage from the way we perceive things, okay? And then we also see that Hajj is not just the intention of the person going to Makkah, but when this person intends to go to Makkah and he intends to go perform the pilgrimage, he needs to do certain rituals in Makkah, right? He needs to do certain rituals, which we will explain in this chapter. And then these certain rituals that is accompanied with an intention needs to be fulfilled in a particular time. And here he is referring to in a particular month. Like, for example, if I want to fast, right? I can fast today, but am I fasting the obligatory fast? No, I'm not fasting the obligatory fast, which is the fast of the month of Ramadan. So in order for me to fulfill the obligatory fast, the time has to be in. So Ramadan has already preceded, right? Ramadan has already passed. So in order for me to fulfill the obligation of Ramadan, the time of Ramadan has to be in. Likewise, when the person intends the sacred house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Mecca, and he intends to perform certain rituals, right? He needs to fulfill that certain rituals in a particular time duration, which is called Ashir al-Hajj. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala beautifully says, Al-Hajju Ashurun Ma'lumat, that Hajj are known months. It is known, like you can ask anyone, right, when is Hajj, they will tell you it is after the month of Ramadan. وَبِنِيَّةٍ مَخْصُوصًا. And then he ends with the definition with a specific intention. Okay. The next definition he goes on to explain is the word al-umrah. Al-umrah linguistically means az-ziyarah. The word umrah in Arabic means ziyarah, and we all know what ziyarah means. Ziyarah means visitation. So umrah actually means in the Arabic language visitation or visiting, okay, if you like. According to the Sharia meaning, the word Umrah is ziyaratu baytillahi al-haram, the visitation of the sacred house, li'ada'i a'mali makhsusati biniyah, right? It is the visitation of the sacred house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to perform specific rituals with a specific intention. Okay, so those are the two definitions for Hajj and Umrah. On page 23 in your English translation work by Sheikh Muhammad Ayub Nadwi, you will see he discusses this line that Imam Nawawi mentioned here in the text, Minhaj al-Talibin, where he says that Hajj is fard, right? So what does he mean, Hajj is fard? He means that Hajj is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, right? So he goes on to explain that because I know on page 23, Sheikh An-Nadwi says a person who denies the truth, right, or the validity of Hajj is rendered a kafir. So some people will find that sentence very problematic. They will think, what is this guy saying? How can you say Hajj is the person that denies the truth or the validity of Hajj is rendered a kafir? Okay, but in order to understand that sentence that was mentioned by An-Nadwi, because he's basically saying here the person that denies the obligation of Hajj potentially can become an infidel, can potentially be out of the fold of Islam. Okay, so that's a very big statement. But this is based on a report that was mentioned by Ibn Umar, where he says that the Prophet ﷺ says that Islam is based on 5 things. Okay, Islam is based on 5 things. The first thing is Shahadati an la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammad Rasulullah. So it is to be a testimony that there is no deity but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and that Muhammad is the messenger of God. Wa iqami salah. Thereafter, they establish to perform salah. Okay, and then wa ita'i zakah, to pay the obligatory tax, which is zakah, and then wa sawmi Ramadan, the fasting or the pilgrimage or the fasting of the month of Ramadan. In some traditions or in some riwayat, if you like, we see the precedence of wa Hajj al-Bayt and then wa sawmi Ramadan. So the riwayah of Ibn Umar in Muslim, we see he says that wa Hajj Ramadan or wa Hajj al-Bayt, wa Hajj al-Bayt before wa sawmi Ramadan. So he says performing the pilgrimage, right, before actually fasting the month of Ramadan. So he uses this hadith in order to substantiate the obligation of Hajj, and he also uses this evidence and this hadith to say that the person that denies the truth and the validity, right, of Hajj could be potentially rendered as a kafir. But in order to explain further, because remember we are discussing Imam Shafi's view regarding the obligatory nature of Hajj. Like, as Muslims, right? As Muslims, should we or must we perform Hajj? Must we perform Hajj and must we perform Umrah? That is the question, right? So on page 23, you could basically write that question. As a Muslim, must I perform Hajj? Do I have a choice? How obligatory is it for me to perform this Hajj? Okay, that we explained. So according to Imam Shafi'i's school of law, Hajj is wajib once the conditions necessitating Hajj is found. And that is very important, that sentence. So yes, Hajj is wajib when the necessary conditions is found in a person in order to fulfill that obligation. Okay. So one does not have to perform Hajj, however. Performing the Hajj, there is a khilaf between the ulama on the whole issue of whether you have to fulfill the law of the legislator immediately, right? And that's a usuli khilaf, based on a legal theory axiom referred to in the books of legal theory. And the khilaf is based on the amr, the fi'al amr. The legal theories differ with regards to whether the imperative command here is referring to when Allah tells you make salah. Do you need to fulfill that immediately, or do you have the option of postponing and delaying the fulfillment of that command? Okay, so هل الأمر على الفور أم التراخي? This is how the legal theorists refer to this particular debate. Is the imperative command, is the nature of imperative commands ought to be fulfilled immediately, or are you allowed to postpone imperative commands? So when Allah says make salah, does that mean that we have to immediately now go make salah, or am I allowed to postpone that salah? So yeah, Allah is telling us, وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا, that performing Hajj to the house, right, of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a duty on mankind, right, that is owed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So man istata'a, upon those who can afford the expenses. Okay, that's a very important point as well. And whoever disbelieves, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَنِيٌّ عَنِ الْعَالَمِينَ, then Allah stands not in need of any of the world. Okay, so this is the ayah in Surah Al-Imran, if I'm not mistaken, verse the chapter 3. Okay, so for those who like to check up the verse, so some people might think like, where's the evidence to say that Hajj is obligatory upon us as Muslims? Okay, so the evidence is in chapter 3. If you like to go look it up, chapter 3 verse 97, right? Chapter 3 verse 97, Surah Al-Imran, verse 97, right? I usually encourage our people to look up these verses, to look up the evidences, so that you have a direct interaction with the commands of your Creator, and this is better and closer to our hearts. Okay, so there are many hadith also indicating the obligatory nature of Hajj. The hadith of Ibn Umar that I mentioned is in Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim. Also, Bunya al-Islamu ala khams, we all know this hadith. Islam is built on 5 pillars, right? So in that hadith, we also see the Prophet ﷺ discusses the obligatory nature of Hajj as well. Imam al-Bayhaqi, Imam al-Hakim narrates on the authority of Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu, where he says that perform the pilgrimage before you are not able to perform the pilgrimage. وَقَالَ سَمِعْتُهُ مِن نَبِيِّكُمْ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ, and Sayyidina Ali says this, I heard from your Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Imam al-Bayhaqi also narrates on the authority of Abu Hurairah that he said that the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, perform the pilgrimage before you are not able to perform the pilgrimage. It was said, فَمَا شَأْنُ الْحَجِّ, so what is the pilgrimage? قَالَ يقعد أعرابها على أذناب أوديتها فلا يصل إلى الحج أحد. Imam al-Bayhaqi also narrates this in the chapter of Hajj, in the chapter regarding that it's recommended to hasten to perform the Hajj if you have the ability to do so. In terms of the legal evidence regarding the obligatory nature of Umrah, because remember we said, Imam Nawawi said, performing Hajj and Umrah is fard, right? According to the Azhar opinion in the madhab. So here he says the hadith of Sayyidina Aisha substantiate the obligatory nature of Umrah as well. So in the Shafi madhab, Umrah is wajib, which many people do not know. Hadith of Aisha says, قالت قلت يا رسول الله. She said, O Messenger of God, هل على النساء جهاد? So she asked the Prophet ﷺ, does women folk have jihad? Is there any jihad of women? قال نعم عليهن جهاد لا قتال في الحج والعمرة. So the Prophet ﷺ responded by saying, yes, the woman has jihad, but the jihad of women does not entail fighting. The jihad of women is Hajj and Umrah. Yes, and this is narrated by Ibn Majah, also in the chapter of Hajj as well. So this chapter is actually called Al-Hajj Jihad al-Nisa, that Hajj is the jihad of women. Ibn Hajar, he says that this hadith isnaduhu sahih, its chain of transmission is authentic. Okay. Also in the verse where Allah discusses the obligatory nature of Hajj, when he says in verse 97, chapter 3, Surah Al-Imran, that Hajj is obligatory upon human beings, we extract this from the Sighat Amr, وَهِيَ تُفِيدُ الْفَرْضِيَّة, right? Which is the formula of the imperative command, implicates obligation. Like Allah says, وَلِلَّهِ, and upon, meaning upon, belongs to Allah. وَلِلَّهِ, actually, some translators, they say, your duty, or you owe to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, عَلَى النَّاسِ, upon people, Hijjul Bayti, the pilgrimage to the house, whomsoever has the ability. فَقَوْلُهُ عَلَى النَّاسِ, when Allah says عَلَى النَّاسِ, here that word actually implicates the obligatory nature with consensus of the ulama. أبي رزين العقيلي رضي الله تعالى عنه أنه أتى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. He went to the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال يا رسول الله. So he said, O Messenger of God, إن أبي شيخ كبير. Indeed, my father is a very old person. لا يستطيع الحج ولا عمرة ولا الظعن. He's not able to perform the pilgrimage, neither is he able to perform the umrah, the visitation, ولا الظعن, right? And neither is he able to travel. قال حج عن أبيك واعتمر, right? So he says, perform pilgrimage on behalf of your father and perform the visitation on behalf of your father. And this is also narrated by Abu Dawood in the chapter of Hajj as well. Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, in his Majmu' via the authority of Imam al-Bayhaqi, he says, قال Muslim ibn al-Hajjaj, Imam Muslim ibn al-Hajjaj, meaning the author of Sahih Muslim, he says that سمعت أحمد بن حنبل يقول, I heard Ahmad ibn Hanbal, the pioneer of the Hanbali madhab, saying, لا أعلم في إيجاب العمرة حديثا أجود من حديث أبي رزين هذا ولا أصح منه. He says, I did not find any tradition, I did not find any prophetic tradition implicating the obligatory nature of Umrah and more, that has more quality than the hadith of Abi Razin. The hadith of Abi Razin, I just shared that with you guys now. Abi Razin al-Uqayli said he went to the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and he said, "Oh Rasulullah, my father is a very big man, meaning he's very old, he's not able to perform the Hajj, and he's not able to perform the Umrah, and he's not able to travel." Then the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told Abi Razin, perform Hajj on your on behalf of your father, and perform the Umrah on behalf of your father. So that also indicates, and here the Prophet ﷺ was commanding Abi Razin. He wasn't saying like you have the option. He was saying perform, meaning he was instructing him to perform it. ولم أجد هذا الكلام لدى البياقي عند روايته للحديث. Obviously here the Sheikh makes the aliq saying that he did not find this statement of Imam Muslim when Imam al-Bayhaqi was narrating this hadith. Also, Subay ibn Ma'bad قال أتيت عمر, he said, I came to Umar رضي الله تعالى فقلت يا أمير المؤمنين. So I said, oh leader of the believers, إني أسلمت, indeed I have converted, meaning I have converted to Islam. وأنا حريص على الجهاد, and I am very keen to fight, meaning I'm very keen to fight in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وإني وجدت الحج والعمرة مكتوبين علي. However, indeed I found that the pilgrimage and the visitation, meaning Hajj and Umrah, are obligatory upon me. فأهللت بهما. فقال عمر رضي الله عنه وديت لسنة نبيك صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. So he says that he made the intention to perform them. So he said, so Umar told him, indeed you were guided to the way of your messenger or your prophet. The hadith here obviously indicates that it's implicit, that it's explicit, right, in terms of the obligation of Umrah like Hajj, where Subay ibn Ma'bad is actually telling Umar, I found out that Hajj and Umrah is actually prescribed upon me, right? He was telling Umar, I see that Hajj and Umrah is prescribed upon me. فأقره عمر, and Umar proved this, right? وأخبره أنه هدي لطريقة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, and obviously Umar told him that this is actually the guidance of your Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. And we know that the companions, they would not approve something that is contrary to the lifestyle of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, inshallah, on that note I will stop there. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم. So inshallah next week, Monday, we will continue our reading on page 23 in Manasik al-Hajj, as well as our reading in Minhaj al-Talibin wa Umdat al-Muftin of Sheikh al-Islam Yahya Sharafuddin al-Nawawi. We only read one line today, and I think that is very good, giving that's our first day, and we only getting back into the teaching mode, inshallah ta'ala. So on that note, we will make these classes available to you on the WhatsApp, meaning on the updates of the Masjid WhatsApp, and we'll also make it available via Facebook, YouTube, and inshallah, hopefully it will be available on all the different social media platforms of the Masjid. So please like and subscribe to the Masjid Facebook page. You can find the Masjid Facebook page under Rondevlei Islamic Society. So under this page, you will find all our updates on all our classes, on all our Jumu'ah and Nasihas that will be starting this Friday as well. Likewise, our class on Wednesday evening, which will take place at the same time after Maghrib. I'll also send this link on the Facebook page, Rondevlei Islamic Society. If you like, you can follow us on Instagram. Please like and share our page on Instagram as well. And we also have a page on YouTube for the masjid. Alhamdulillah, all of this is available, and you know, as our society moves into a total different dispensation, we as a community and a society, we are all forced in moving into that dispensation and trying to keep up with the trend so that we are able to facilitate the same services that we would facilitate outside of the lockdown, and still keep that spiritual connection with our Creator. We know that, you know, the lockdown has been very tough for people in terms of the spiritual ascension and the spiritual connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And hopefully through these platforms, meaning through Zoom, Facebook, YouTube, we hope to serve our community to the best of our ability. Please let us encourage our children, our youngsters. They are very techno-savvy. They know how to work these things. They know how to work Facebook. They are every day on Facebook. They are every day on Instagram. There is not one youngster in our community today, even at the age of my daughter is 7 years old. She knows how to work YouTube. I do not believe that there's any person that does not know how to work YouTube. You know, that age where we say we don't know how to do these things anymore, that age is finished. This is a different dispensation. We are living in the age where millennials, the day-to-day interaction is with the phone. They know how to work these things. They know how to work Facebook. They know how to work YouTube. They know how to work Instagram. We as community leaders, we as parents, as members of society should encourage our children to use these different social media platforms in the right way. So let us encourage them, right? So if we as, let's say, you know, I have a fiqh program on 786 every Thursday morning at 11:15. It's called the fiqh of millennials and Gen Z. So they are basically discuss the new generation and their trends. I discuss parenting. I discuss the opportunities that they have as a generation. I discuss change, and here I refer to our parents as the boomers. The boomers meaning people that were born before 1984. So according to research and you know, current studies, millennials or people that were born after or from 1984 onward. So people that are 26, 25, 27, 28, these are basically referred to as the millennial generation. And then we have Gen Z, those people that are 20, 32, 35, even up to 40, they regard them as the Gen Z generation. So I think it's important, you know, as a community, especially for the boomers, and here the boomers, I'm referring to the people that were born before 1984. Let us encourage our children, right, the millennials and Gen Z, to help us understand how do we navigate and work these different social platforms. We cannot continue in the age where we say we don't know how to to do this. We have to change, and we see that our situation, lockdown, is forcing us to move into that dispensation, whether we like it or not. So, for many years, we could say, I don't know how to work this. But now that it's lockdown, you need to learn how to work it. Because if you don't know how to work it, then you won't be able to get anything done. We do our banking from our social media platforms. We do everything, literally everything. Our children learn everything they practically know about life from social media. So as boomers, my advice, inshallah ta'ala, let us, create the conversation and the dialogue with our children by, opening up the discussion and be willing to learn. As boomers, let us be willing to learn. Let us take the opportunity to learn from our children, because believe you me, they will teach you things about the social media that it will make your life so much easier. I think some people still go to banks to do transfers and stuff like this. If you sit with your child for a few moments, I guarantee you, he or she will teach you how to do that transfer in the comfort of your own home, in the comfort of your own car, on your phone. So, inshallah ta'ala, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect and to guide our community. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the opportunity to serve our community once again. And I wish everyone, the best for, our new normal future as we take it on as a society. Very, unknown times that lies ahead of us. So we ask Allah ta'ala to protect everyone, and we ask Allah to make it easy for those people that lost their jobs, that are being retrenched. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to compensate them with better, and we want you to know that inshallah ta'ala, even though that it might seem dark, there is light at the end of the tunnel. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. شكرا والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Until we meet again. السلام عليكم.